Saludos, mi gente. There are so many impactful stories from within our community. Some come from family, some come from books, and some we get to write ourselves. In honor of Black History Month, we sat down with 4 Afro-Latino storytellers who use their artistry to tell the stories of their culture, their people, and to heal. Through films and TV shows, we're able not only to tell stories of our past, but also tell new ones that represent us more accurately. And speaking of representation, it's so important that we empower our people to tell our own stories. Here's Laz Alonso's story.
My name is Laz Alonso. I am born and raised in Washington, D.C., and I identify as an Afro-Latino, Afro-Cubano, and human being. Storytelling, to me, is the opportunity to share an experience. Whether that be my experience, if I'm telling my story, or that story of my family, how we got here, or I'm telling someone else's story playing a character, un personaje. The stories that are directly connected to my family are, to me, the most impactful ones. Everything that I do it for my family. Everything that I do it for my blood. Everything that I do it for my ancestors, because I know that they're alive in me. You know, if you do a DNA test and it can tell you all the way to the beginning of time where you came from, that means that somewhere in your DNA, your ancestors to the beginning of time are still alive. They're living cells, it's energy. You know, so for me, it gives me a great amount of power and pride to know that I carry that in me and that I have the opportunity, now it's my turn, to elevate, you know, my lineage into a different stratosphere, to a different place, to do things that my ancestors only dreamt of. You know, I always tell people, actors get paid to relive what most people in society pay to never have to relive. So what people pay a therapist to be able to let go of and leave in the past, we get paid to relive that stuff over and over and over again. But, you know, there's a tremendous amount of satisfaction that comes with being able to recreate a moment in history that, you know, meant something. You know, I played a character, an Afro-Puerto Rican character in Spike Lee's movie Miracle at St. Anna, where this person was the only Afro-Latino in his neighborhood in the Bronx growing up. It's not just affecting us. It's affecting thousands and thousands of people, whether we're aware of it or not. You know, so this was an opportunity for me to represent him, to represent his family, to pay homage to everything that he did for Afro-Latinidad, whether it was a big, big, huge impact or something small, it was still something that they did to contribute to the culture. It's an everlasting battle to continue to educate, because you're not just educating people, you're also reminding your own that you exist. And that I have found that no matter how much progress we make, you can't let up off the gas, because if you do, you'll lose the progress that you've made. I'm gonna kick those doors down. You gotta kick those doors down too. And at some point, you gotta pass that baton for the next generation. And when it comes to Afro-Latinidad, you know, we're doing a dual service. We're representing Latinidad in general, surely, for sure, 100% proud. But I'm also representing my race, which is the Afro side of Afro-Latinidad, my Black race, and how we've contributed to the food, to the music, to the culture, you know, to the rhythm, to the sounds, to the smells of what we associate with what Latinidad is, especially Caribbean, you know, Latinidad. But really, I mean, you look at everywhere, Brazil, Colombia, Peru. You actually travel to these countries, you're gonna see a lot of color, a lot of brown skin, even Mexico. You know, you turn the TV off and you actually go there and you visit, you're gonna see a lot of melanin. And these are the real true people that we have to represent on camera. I want my story to be one of excellence. I still feel like there are hundreds and hundreds of stories that I haven't been able to tell. You know, and that part inspires me. And not just tell as an actor, but also now be able to multiply my ability to tell a story by being able to produce, produce television, produce film, and employ, Latinos like this set employs, people so that we can tell more stories. So for me, I'm literally just now hitting my stride.
Fashion and beauty are direct forms of storytelling. Najah created a melanin-inclusive beauty line that honors her ancestry and celebrates self-care. She shows us that whether it's through beauty or fashion, we can all express ourselves authentically.
So a little bit about me. My mom is from the Dominican Republic. My father is from Zambia. That's the southern part of Africa, for y'all that don't know. When I grew up, I really didn't know how to identify myself because the words Afro-Latina together was not really a thing. You're either Latina or African, or you look mixed. And I wasn't Latina enough to fit in over here, and I wasn't African enough to fit in over here. So I identified as just a Black woman. I got picked on a lot, and I kind of fell into education. I was in gifted programs. I went to a preparatory high school. So I actually graduated high school when I was 16. Storytelling to me means community, connection, vulnerability, intimacy, and empathy, being able to help people connect to who you are. Storytelling is super important, I believe, for especially Black and brown people, because we've had our stories told for us for so long. And I feel like in America, we have had the opportunity to really be able to tell people who we are and what we love and what pain we've been through, but also how we've rose up out of that, and they'll create their own story about who I am. And I think it's fun to be able to say, no, not that stereotype. No, not that stigma. It's this. And so it's super important for people to know who you are through your own lens. One of the major things that impacted my life was losing my brother. So 5 years ago, I lost my brother, who was my best friend. It literally changed the trajectory of my life. It impacted me negatively for a very long time, but then I took that pain and turned it into purpose. Being the CEO and founder of Odara Iwa, when I actually started this brand, it was because what was going on the inside of my body started showing up on the outside of my body. My skin was terrible, and it was coming from stress. It was coming from me not taking care of myself. And so I decided to go on a trip to Bali and do some self-care. And when I was there, I used volcanic ash and bentonite clay, and it really helped clear up my skin. So when I left Bali, I wanted to maintain the level of self-care and the level of basically organic ingredients that I was using for my skin. So I decided that I wanted to come up with a skincare line for two reasons. One, to be an entrepreneur and kind of follow my brother's footsteps a little bit, but also I wanted to be able to talk to people about mental health in a cool way. I wanted to take what I experienced in Bali, both the mental health aspect of it and the self-care aspect of it, and kind of turn that into a skincare line. When I did the photo shoot for Odara, I was very specific. I wanted to use melanated skin tones. We got a guy in there that had some really chocolate deep skin tones. We got my girl in there that was also a deeper skin tone. I feel like anything luxury is Black. when you see a black car, when you see a black Mercedes, when you see, I just feel like anything luxury. So it crossed the lines with the packaging and with the story that we were telling with the models. So we all get to show up in the world however we want, which I love. So for me, when I started taking care of myself and I really started focusing on self-care, one of the things that I wanted to elevate was my look. And so I am obsessed with blazers. I think that they are clean, they elevate you when you have on a blazer. You can wear it with shorts, skirts, anything. So for me, I feel like when I put on a badass suit, I just feel like I'm showing up in the world as that girl. And it encourages me even more to be that CEO, to be that founder, to show up in spaces that I was not accepted in before. And I feel like it helps tell your story. When you walk into a room, like how you present yourself, people are like, oh, you know, who is that? I really hope to inspire the Afro-Latino community by showing everyone that you can be yourself and you can be authentically you in every space and still win. My grandfather gave me the name Najah, and it means success in Swahili. And I want my story to be a successful one, and not measured by financial success or physical success, but how I showed up and lived my life every day while I was alive.
Food connects us to the heart of our stories and the root of our people. Chef Rogelio's story originated in Panama. Now he's here in the United States, and he shared with us why he identifies as an Afro-Caribbean.
My name is Rogelio Eduardo Squires, Jr. I'm from Panama City, Rio Bajo, and I'm the head chef at Caribbean Soul Kitchen LA. I identify as an Afro-Caribbean, which is Afro, Latin, and Caribbean descent mixed into one. Growing up in the U.S. as a Afro-Latino kid, and being of my complexion, which is the darker of the spectrum, it was always rough. So I couldn't exactly identify with Latino culture. I could only identify to an extent. I could not identify with the Black culture because I guess at certain points I lacked some swag, I guess you could say. I am born in Panama. You know, they tend to separate you from that Caribbean diaspora, even though we're on the Caribbean side of Panama, where it's closer to the Caribbean Ocean. They still would say, well, you're not exactly Caribbean because you weren't born on one of the islands. You know, you're Panamanian, which is true. Yeah, I'm Panamanian, but you know, my descendants came from Jamaica, Barbados. So the whole issue of me not being able to fit in somewhere is what caused me to just come up with my own my own space for myself to exist. Storytelling is very important because we need to be able to relate to one another and understand each other as a people, and that we do have a certain niche in society that other cultures don't have. And you know, if for those that it's hard to fit into, whether you're just Black or you want to try to fit in where you're just Hispanic, know that there is a group of us that where you're accepted and you can fit in and everyone understands you. So my grandfather is Jamaican. So growing up in Panama, you know, he would make the traditional dishes. So we had stuff like arroz con pollo, ensalada de papas, sopas, sancocho. He would make bun. He did all types of, so he would mix everything and integrate everything. And those flavors, honestly, just stuck with me. So there's a lot of things that I do make that remind me of him. So for me, it's sharing with people what the flavors that I grew up knowing with my grandfather in his kitchen. So some things may not necessarily come across as authentic, but I'm an artist. So I you know, the only thing that I paint with is my ingredients, my spices, and my canvas is your plate. I would like my story to be that I came to California as a youth, went through everything as an Afro-Latino growing up, made it as a chef, a Panamanian chef at that. We're a very proud people as Afro-Latinos, and most Panamanians do stand out, and we always are loud and let you know that we're in the building. But there are some that do not, and it's okay if you're an introvert, I guess, it's okay. But the goal would be for you to be out and come out and just support, be proud of your country. I am, and going forward, I would always put my all, 100% of me into Panama.
Since the beginning of time, music has been a source of healing and a tool to unite us and amplify our stories. This is J. Noah's story.
Que lo que, mi nombre es Noah, tengo 18 años, soy dominicana y soy artista. Yo con mi color de piel no tengo ningún tipo de problema. Lo más importante para mí, o sea, en mi físico, es mi color de piel. El que me habla bien mi color de piel no damos golpes fácilmente, porque yo soy a toa con mi color. Bueno, para mí representar mis raíces con mi música significa demasiado, ya que yo soy muy joven y cuando yo comencé como a dar pasos internacionales, yo tenía 15, 16 años y ha sido una responsabilidad que no es fácil de llevar, pero para mí es más que un orgullo yo estar representando mi país con música limpia, cosas sanas y dando pasos tan importantes en mi carrera como las cosas que ya he venido haciendo, que everybody sabe. Yo creo que mi música yo la estoy usando para contar las historias en todo el sentido de la palabra, porque desde mis inicios yo siempre he estado como hablando de los temas sociales, políticos y de la delincuencia del barrio, ese tipo de cosas que fueron las cosas que yo vi y que de alguna forma u otra me vi involucrada en mi crecimiento como persona y como artista. O sea, como que ese tipo de historias siempre han estado involucradas en todo lo que yo hago a nivel musical. A mí me enorgullece mucho ser yo quien narre ese tipo de historias con mi música, porque yo en pocas palabras me siento la periodista de mi barrio, porque tú sabes que nosotros cuando nos criamos en barrio son sitios donde son mínimas las personas que tienen voz y que una masa de personas, vamos a poner de la alta sociedad o más ricas, te puedan escuchar, tú sabes, es como mínimo esa persona que estamos en el barrio que puede lograr eso. Entonces yo he sido como la periodista de mi barrio, tú sabes, y eso para mí eso es una responsabilidad. Yo creo que mi cultura está involucrada en todo con mi flow y con lo que yo represento, porque como que yo no pierdo mi dominicanidad, tú sabes, como que donde quiera que yo llego, yo no me tengo que decir, ¿qué es lo que? O sea, yo saludando, everybody sabe que yo soy dominicana. Musicalmente, yo quisiera que mi música se siga expandiendo, porque realmente yo siento, y es obviamente lo que yo estoy dando un mensaje positivo. Entonces yo siento que la juventud y la sociedad como que necesitan más de eso, como que escuchar cosas positivas y verdades, no lo que ustedes quieren escuchar, tú sabes. Porque por eso yo siempre he tenido como unos conflictos de que, tú eres arrogante. Y esa no es la palabra, el problema es que yo soy muy directa y yo digo verdades. Entonces cuando yo digo verdades, la gente usa la palabra arrogante como un método de defensa. O sea, tú dices la verdad, yo te digo que tú eres arrogante para obviar eso que tú estás diciendo, tú sabes. Y si eso es arrogante, que me pueden dar récord Guinness, porque yo voy a ser arrogante la vida entera entonces, porque yo siempre he sido así, de que si yo tengo que decir algo, me importa quién sea. Yo digo la verdad y punto. Sí creo que estoy haciendo una gran labor con esto, porque yo sé que después de mí van, bueno, anteriormente a mí obviamente hay mujeres negras en la música, pero yo sé que después de mí van a venir más personas y es bueno como que dejar ese camino ya, que bueno, no tengan que quitar, no tengan ustedes que quitar el césped, pasen ustedes por aquí, por donde ya yo le hice el camino, tú sabes. Y para mí eso significa muchísimo. Mi primera inspiración fueron los menores del barrio. Tú sabes que allá en los barrios dominicanos, bueno, también en otros países, pero allá se usa mucho que hacen un círculo en la calle y se ponen a rapear. Uno tirando el beat con la boca. Un tipo, o sea, se ponía uno, tiraba el beat y se fajaban entre dos a decirse de todo, rapeando. Pues eso lo hacían al frente de mi casa. Yo tenía 5 años y yo veía eso y yo salía y me ponía con ellos también. Yo duraba como 1 minuto pensando lo que iba a decir, pero lo hacía, tú sabes, yo tenía 5 años, es algo lógico. O sea, yo todavía no sé leer, no sé hablar bien y ya estoy de que rapeando. Yo creo que lo importante y el legado que uno deja es que uno vivió como uno quiso, tú sabes. Que uno fue feliz, que hizo cosas positivas, que aportaron de una forma u otra, tú sabes. Entonces yo creo que para eso yo estoy trabajando. Como que la gente me vean a mí como un ejemplo, como un modelo a seguir, tú sabes. No que me vean como una más del montón, que anda explotando moe, que anda este, que anda el otro, tú sabes. Sé como que eso es lo que yo quiero, el legado que yo quiero dejar. Que yo fui un ejemplo a seguir, que yo fui una buena persona y que desde que tengo 15 años estoy aquí. Fumarme una acústica para volver miadita, inyectarme 500 micrófonos por los pulmones, que el sonido de la guitarra hace el agua de mis riñones, la música es el calmante para cuando yo me con estos que es pura que comen, una nota de composición, es que no me limito, voy a acelerar, no soy Luis Fonsi para irme despacito. Me voy a callar ya, que yo he hablado demasiado aquí hoy ya.